The Galapagos Islands, raw, untouched, and extraordinary. Wake up each day surrounded by one of the most pristine ecosystems on Earth, where wildlife surrounds you. Swim alongside sea turtles, seahorses, and playful sea lions. Walk quietly among giant tortoises in their natural world. Explore dramatic volcanic landscapes shaped by time. Snorkel in calm, crystal clear waters teeming with life. Experience the Galapagos with depth, comfort, and intention, traveling in a small group, guided by those who know these islands intimately. Come discover a place unlike anywhere else on Earth. Again, thank you all so much for being here this evening and taking time out of these crazy, hectic, busy schedules we all seem to be tangled up in, and joining during this beautiful part of the year when we could be outdoors and enjoying nature, but thank you for being here. I want to start with a land acknowledgement, and let me just quickly share my screen and get started with. I am joining you from the Anishinaabe Algonquin Nation region. So I have the pleasure of talking to you and walking through some of the hidden gems of Ecuador's Andes, Amazon, and Galapagos Islands. And I really, more than anything, I want to give you a feel for what it's like to travel to these areas, what you might see. I certainly, it's something you can do on your own, you can do in groups. I'll explain a little bit about my trips at the end, but really, I just want to give you a feel for all of the exciting things and that you might actually see when on the trips. I'm going to start with the Galapagos Islands, and then I'm going to talk about the Amazon a little bit, and then I'm going to work through the Andes and end up talking about my village in particular, which is where I spend a lot of my time, kind of split between Ottawa and Mindo, Ecuador, which is this little village in a valley of the cloud forest, a couple of hours northwest of Quito, and it's just beautiful. And that's why I put this picture up there I wanted to get you just imagining the feeling of, because few people, even in other areas where hummingbirds are prolific, have had the feeling of having them actually, the little hands sit on your fingers. It's one of those pretty magical feelings in life. And I just wanted to start there and answer a question which inevitably everyone asks, whether they're, visiting me in Mindo, whether they're on a retreat with me in Mindo, because I host retreats there, or traveling through mainland Ecuador, the Galapagos, or just visiting me, they always ask the same thing. Why Ecuador? How did you end up there? And so it's a good place for me to start, because it started a long time ago now, 29 years ago. I went down for the first time to this little village of Mindo, which was very different at the time. It was only just over 1,000 people, and now it's well over 3, which is still a tiny village, but it's 3 times bigger than it was. So a lot of changes I've seen over the 29 years. I went down to work on an environmental project. I ended up just falling in love with the area and kind of working with this project for over 3 years. And I've kept a home there ever since, which ended up kind of expanding into a retreat center. And now I have the pleasure of hosting really life-changing, beautiful retreats there, just because I have such a unique experience to offer. But I won't get into that quite yet. I'll move along and just touch base first on one of the other things that is common to all trips, whether it's Andes, Amazon, or Galapagos. We all visit this outdoor air museum on the equator line, which is it's just beautiful. It's so well done. It's really fun. It's full of photo ops like this one where you get to pose with the 000 line. And they do a wonderful job of explaining how things work differently. Our muscles work differently, whether that's balancing an egg, whether that's being kind of pushed down with your muscles. Our muscles don't work the same. Our balance doesn't work the same. They do a wonderful job of explaining the different cultures, the indigenous cultures in the Amazon and in different parts up in the Andes. And it's a really well done museum. It's called Intiñan. They explain how the sun works and in the different phases of the year. And that's just outside of Quito. So that's a must stop if you're going to Ecuador. Quito is as well. It was the first city in the world to be designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So it's spectacular. It was recognized as such years ago, just minutes before Krakow, Poland. But they were the first two cities for many years that were to be recognized for their historic centers, which are just gorgeous. And lots of just beautiful scenes and old walkways, and it's a clean, pretty safe city for 2 million people. It's just has offers a lot culturally, lots of different things to do. Some wonderful churches like this Baroque church, which has a lot of detail happening, as Baroque tends to, with gold and just a real variety of different churches. You can catch wonderful cultural performances which is such a beautiful way to get to know a culture. Watching them demonstrate their own culture through dance and through music is just it's beautiful. So this is something that goes on every day that you can catch. Now moving on to the Galapagos. So Quito is actually where you stop to get to the Galapagos and where you fly into and stay. And I really highly recommend that everyone stays in Quito for at least a couple nights, but you can do a lot there. You can also do some wonderful day trips. And it is the place to stop when you're going to the Galapagos Islands. You could also go through Guayaquil, but I wouldn't recommend that. It's not Quito. We'll just leave it at that. But to get to the Galapagos, you have to go through Quito and then you fly. It's actually about 1,000 kilometers off the coast, off the Pacific coast of Ecuador. So it's a good flight. They control the numbers going into the Galapagos with the numbers of flights, and they're a little bit expensive. So just keeping that in mind, that you need to really plan that out in advance and make sure that you have your flights. But again, I just wanted to get you looking into this picture. It's a little bit blurry, but to picture looking into the eyes of this beautiful giant tortoise that is over 120 years old. I can't tell you what it feels like to have that huge animal looking back at you when, sorry, I'm having a bunch of things coming in, looking right into your eyes. It's like they're looking right into your soul, and it's one of the magical things in the Galapagos. The Galapagos are actually named after the giant tortoise. It's an old Spanish word for saddle. So you'll see their big, shells look kind of like a saddle, and you can get nice and close to them. You're not supposed to touch any animals in the Galapagos, but sometimes they touch you, and you can't stop that, and it's pretty amazing. But these are giant tortoises in their natural habitat. You'll see them wandering through the grass and eating. You'll see them down in water holes cooling off, and sometimes you'll see them just wandering around some of the islands as well. But we go specifically to an area of the cloud forest where they like hang out. There are two cloud forest areas where there are giant tortoises in their natural habitat that you can see in the islands. So a lot of people don't know. So there are two ways to see the Galapagos Islands. You can do it by yacht, which is a wonderful way of doing it. It's something I help people with on an individual basis because Otherwise, I would have to book an entire yacht, which is impossible to do. It's like $100,000 or something. But doing it on an individual basis is a wonderful way. But I really love doing it, which in the way that's called island hopping, where you stay on one, two, or three of the inhabited islands. There are about 30,000 people in total living across the islands, mostly on those three islands, as well as a couple of others where there are some scientific research stations. But it's a really that way you get to see the culture, the island vibe, and you get to spend a little bit more time snorkeling, a little more time on the beaches. But the yachts are nice too. But you really want to spend more time with the animals when you're on the Galapagos. And typically you spend more time when you're doing an island hopping adventure as opposed to being on a yacht. The sea lions, they're everywhere. They're in the cities, they're on the docks, they're on the benches, they're everywhere. They're posing for us all the time. They're adorable. Um, Now, in the Galapagos, 97% of the islands are part of a national park. So you actually can't wander around outside of the towns unless you have a Galapagos certified guide. And so that's a really important little tidbit to know. You can organize that on your own, but again, it's supply and demand is at a premium in the Galapagos. Again, it's the way of conserving and taking care of the fragile ecosystem. So this is a land iguana. I I have this line, and it's so true. It feels like you're in a nature documentary. It really does. It's surreal to be surrounded by all these wacky and different animals, and they're everywhere. And I really encourage, by the way, if you're going to the Galapagos, to do some research. I think it's true for any trip anywhere. You should really research it, watch some documentaries, but you get so excited about the animals and you learn more and you know what to look for and you know what the differences are. And it's really worth taking the time to learn a little bit about the animals, like the blue-footed booby. Once you've seen the full mating dance of the blue-footed booby, it's just, you won't want to miss seeing blue-footed boobies in general. They're a large bird, by the way, and their blue feet are a thing. They show them off all the time. They're really proud of those feet. But the male, this is a male doing his mating dance, his courtship dance, and it's so spectacular to watch. They get their feet going and they do a full thing. He has his wings going and he'll throw his neck back and he'll start making some sounds and he'll circle and he'll get up usually on a rock as high as he can and start doing all these things over and over again. And the female's just kind of pretending like she's not really interested that much. And in the end, she is given a piece of straw, and if she decides to pick it up, it's put at her feet. And if she picks it up, then it's a done deal. And if she doesn't, which is usually the case, then he picks up his straw and keeps moving. So it's something to watch for sure. And then there's the penguins, the Galapagos penguins. You'll see Galapagos ahead of a lot of different animals there because they're endemic. They are unique to the Galapagos. There are three ocean currents that all come together at the islands. And so that's really the reason why there's such unique animals here. They're fairly new islands. They've been formed from lava, from volcanic eruptions, and then these three islands, including the Humboldt, which is how the penguins got up there. And these are the second smallest penguins in the world, and they're the only ones that are found on the equator because the line goes right through the Galapagos and north of the equator. So they're so adorable. You won't probably see them swimming. They're very careful around that population. They are a species at risk, so they're very careful around them. But again, just little more posing. You get to see the sea lions all over the beaches, and you get to see them interacting with each other. The little babies are in little pools of water on the rocks, and then the teenagers are kind of going crazy in the water, and the mothers are usually kind of lazing around on the beach. But that's typically how they're acting. And then there's one male, because one male is the only, he takes care of an entire harem or the entire group for an entire beach. And they're the only ones that you have to be a little bit careful of. But yeah, it's not something it's okay if they come and knock up against you. They're just having so much fun. I actually kicked a male once by accident, which is highly recommended against, but nothing happened. I actually got that on a GoPro, and it was just, it's not something you ever want to do. So, but nothing happened. Um, Here are the blue feet. You can see the talons there. They are an incredible water bird too. They go straight up high and come straight down on a fish, like incredible. Um, and that's a little baby to its right. Oops, we're going the wrong way. And the landscapes are just gorgeous. So many different and diverse landscapes throughout. Another posing land iguana. This is a magnificent frigate bird. The male has the big pouch that he blows up to show off, and just stunning. They have the scissor tail. Some marine iguanas, the only lizard in the world that is ocean worthy. So again, when you learn about these animals through a nature documentary, it just makes it more interesting. And the way they blow the salt out their nose, the way they hold on to the rocks when they're eating their algae, and it's really fascinating watching the giant tortoises. And there are different giant tortoises for each of the islands, so a variety of species. And again, the sea lions, they're just so cute. But the animals are everywhere. The snorkeling is amazing in the Galapagos. Just amazing. Two of the best snorkeling sites are in all of the itineraries I create. And one of those is really close to the penguins as well. So pretty much guaranteed to see penguins, to swim with the Galapagos sea turtles, which again have no fear of people. It's the remarkable part. It's why you feel like you're in a nature documentary, because they literally come right up to you. All the animals have no fear. Like one of the most magical animal moments of my life was swimming with one of these Galapagos sea turtles. And it just, they actually swim right up and allow you to swim with it. And you're swimming along with this huge sea turtle, like this big, as you go along. It's amazing. That footage in the loop that I showed at the beginning, that was all on my GoPro. And you can just see the numbers, so the individuals as well as the diversity of species is really prolific. And you get to swim with the sea lions, as I mentioned. They're having fun. They are so playful, and they're just in and out of the water and jumping all around and with each other. A couple more penguin shots. Yeah, and we go on some nice hikes as well. There's some really wonderful hiking. That's how you get to see some of the nesting areas for both iguanas, as well as a variety of different birds. And this is a kind of a typical scene where you'll see some volcanic rock mixed with beaches. The beaches in the Galapagos are amazing, and there's no bad time of year to go. It's just always warm and sunny, not too hot. Some days can get up there, but yeah, it's just always beautiful. It rains very seldomly. Just beautiful. One of the places that we will typically hike to on Isabella Island, which is the biggest island, kind of looks like a seahorse. And we go to see seahorses there on one of the diving or one of the snorkeling expeditions. This is called Sierra Negra, And it's a wonderful hike. It's one of the biggest volcanic craters in the world. And you can see right across. It's really stunning. At one point, I had to stay behind in Quito because a couple of my clients had lost their flights, and so we waited, and we had to wait for the next day. And we knew that the group had gotten ahead of us, and they were at Sierra Negra, and so we ended up renting some horses, each a horse, and we caught up with the group, and it was this wonderful moment. Whenever I see Sierra Negra, I think of that moment of catching up with the group. Now, guides are an essential part of group travel, and you have to get the best guides. And so, all of my itineraries, I'm now creating all departures based on the availability of the best guides. In the Galapagos, that's a guide named Richard Ruiz, he's known for just being the best of the best. He's wonderful. And so all the departures are based on him. His knowledge combined with his lovely nature make him the best. And highly recommend stopping at the Charles Darwin Research Station, which it's so interesting. It's well done. If you haven't seen all of the animals, like, there's a different variety on different islands, then you'll be able to see them here. They have a really, it's well done educational institute. And yeah, all based on the work of Darwin. So, does anyone know what Darwin was actually basing his theory of evolution and natural selection on? A lot of people think it's on the giant tortoises, but I don't know if anyone. It was actually on finches. Each of the islands has its own unique species of finch, and he went around and collected them and froze them and took them back to England and studied them. And yeah, so a little bit about the islands. We are also going to North Seymour Island on this new itinerary where you get to see nesting frigate birds and get to see that is the best place to see the mating dance of the blue-footed booby. So that is on the list. And anyone recognize this bird, the great blue heron? I like pointing this out, that this is one of the animals that has absolutely no fear. We know it's one of the most skittish animals that exist in Ontario, if not the most. And you can walk right up to a great blue heron there, identical species. Just fascinating. And again, just wanting you to look into those eyes and picture, actually looking into the eyes of a sometimes 150-year-old giant tortoise. Some of them get as old as that. Typically, these bigger ones are around 120. But yeah, they've done an amazing job of conservation of the giant tortoise. Back in the 60s, there were only 15 species of I'm trying to think, the Española, the giant tortoise left. And they have brought it now back to over 2,000 individuals. And overall, the population of giant tortoises is up around 9,000 now, which is just amazing. It's one of the real success stories of the Galapagos Conservancy. They've done an amazing job. All of EarthTreks trips go towards supporting them financially, and they're amazing work. So environmental education, they do conservation and habitat protection. But their greatest work that they've really done, or where they've seen the most success, is the bringing back the giant tortoises through a really wonderful system and some really good males who did some great work. And, I highly, highly recommend going to one of the two breeding centers for the giant tortoises, where you get to see these little guys. Like, this guy's probably only about 3 weeks old, which is the youngest you can see a giant tortoise. And they're just that fits in the palm of your hand. They're just tiny, tiny, and they're so cute. And you'll see them right next to these giants. And it's pretty amazing that they start so small. So now I'm going to move along to the Andes and down into the Amazon. But as we're coming from Quito and jumping into the Amazon, we will generally stop at this hot springs, which is the best natural hot springs in South America. It's called Papayacta. And you can see, there's volcanoes in the background, and they're just really beautiful scenes. And then we make our way down into the Amazon, where we stay at this lodge called Suchipacari, which is just wonderful. You're in the jungle, and you know, the wildlife is all around you, but it's in such a clean and comfortable way. I mean, they're wooden lodges without air conditioning, but all of your needs are taken care of. It's completely, fans are really all you need, and the food is amazing. It's a beautiful experience. Carlitos, who is our local Quechua guide to the far right there, he's just incredible. His knowledge, he grew up in the forests, and as you're walking through, and you really, he'll be able to pick out the tiniest little tree frog and point that out, and he'll be able to explain the different natural medicines and how this tree, for example, was used as a means of communication through just using this other type of tree and hitting the buttress of this one. It was a way of communicating different things, which is a different type of tree than this one. This is called the sabo tree, which is like the mother of the forest in the Amazon. Just really beautiful. And so, so much diversity, and so fascinating when you're walking, just getting to know all the different uses, traditional uses of the plants. And again, learning about the medicines is fascinating, and you also get your face painted because it's fun. Um, this is typically how we travel from, because to not disturb to not disturb the forest when you're traveling from one area to get to primary forest, we travel through these motorized canoes. So when you see canoeing, typically in the Amazon, they're talking about motorized canoes, and they're covered because it does rain there. Of course, it's a rainforest. And we go that way to visit different Quechua communities and learn about their traditions, and um, whether that's from dancing to how they prepare different foods. And so again, the best guide in the world is what I've based all of my departures on is Diego Jaramillo. He's this wonderful guide who has so much knowledge. He knows all the people, he knows all the spots to stop, and he also knows about this one little lake that has an island with 5 species of primates on it. And it's so interesting to walk around this island and see all these primates, these monkeys in their natural habitat. And it's really exciting. I didn't capture a pocket monkey in these photos just because they're so tiny. They're really hard to get a picture of, but you get to see them there. That's one jumping across the river. Some of them made it. There was a whole bunch of them going across. Not all of them made it, but they just landed in the water. It was humiliating, I think, for them. Just it's amazing seeing these animals in their natural habitat. And visiting the Quechua communities, this shaman, he's so proud to teach his ways, and to do cleansings on people, and teach how you do these cleansing, teach how you use a blowgun. It's actually a really effective and interesting way of knocking an animal out. This is a traditional hunting practice, and I've been on a hunting expedition with a Waorani group many years ago. And you have your face painted with this berry called achiote, which is kind of like paprika, the way we use paprika, but it comes out in a liquid form from these berries. And we learn how to make chicha, which is the welcome drink, which is traditionally prepared and given to people. It's fermented just a little bit, not to a point where kids can drink it. And it's no longer made with I like mentioning this because some people were afraid of drinking the chicha. When you're given a cup of chicha, it's a real honor by the from the Quechua people and from other communities as well. And it's important to accept that they no longer use saliva as their way of fermenting. And I just like mentioning that they've found other ways of fermenting. So don't hesitate to please accept a nice little cup of chicha when you arrive. It's a beautiful tradition. And again, seeing some of the dancing. And this was a wedding ceremony, and it was so beautiful to be a part of, and big, huge bonfire and watching the traditional dancing and being a part of that, you know. And from the Amazon, I call it the golden loop because we kind of do this, to not backtrack. We go around through the Amazon, come out on the other side through the area heading towards Baños. And it's just, um, we pass through this avenue of waterfalls, which is just spectacular. It's you get to see 19 unique waterfalls along the Avenue of Waterfalls. And just checking the chat here. Okay, we're all good. And the by far the most beautiful of those 19 is this one called the Pilón del Diablo, which is just a stunning waterfall. And yeah, we stop there. We do a little bit of a hike down there and spend some time in the little town of Baños, which is about, I don't know, 20,000 people. It's right around 20,000 people. So it's this wonderful ecotourism town that has so much to do, so many different things. We leave some free time there, whether it's to do some salsa dancing, whether it's to do some other, fun and crazy stuff that we help you to arrange through other providers. But we leave that space intentionally for people who want to do amazing shopping or things more adrenaline focused. So there's a lot to do adrenaline wise in Baños as there is in Mindo. Then after Baños, we'll typically stop in Cotopaxi National Park, which is, it's just such a beautiful volcano to watch. I took this out the window of an airplane when I was on a flight, and it was erupting at the time. And you can see how it's really beautiful to watch a volcano erupt, and you can see the glacier on the top. So we actually go to the top of that glacier. It's mostly driving, and we park at the kind of just below it, and then we hike up the last 800 meters. It takes about 45 minutes. No equipment. It's a good hike, but like anything, it's an invitation. You absolutely don't have to do the hike. It's beautiful to see the base camp and to see the glacier, but it's also something you can skip. One of the most interesting parts of going to Cotopaxi is seeing the wild horses, which you'll see on the way down. You'll often see condors, and condors, it's hard to see condors. There aren't a lot of condors in the area or to be seen. They're really high up generally, and they're harder to see. So it's one of the areas where you'll generally have more luck seeing condors. And yeah, now we're headed to Mindo, which is my village, and it's just a wonderful place where I host retreats, but I also host the trips that come through as well. It's Mindo was the first important bird area declared in 1997. So the year before, no, yeah, it was the year I arrived then. 1997, it was declared the first important bird area. So it's a birding destination globally, and lots of really wonderful birding tours and different things to do. It's the whole area when you're traveling from Quito to Mindo is a large protected forest called the Mindo Nambillo protected forest, and it's 19,220 hectares. That's the reason I originally came down, was to work with that project, and a gentleman named Pedro Peñafiel, who I'll talk about in a minute, and his wife Heike Brischke. And it's an incredibly large, intact primary forest that has unique species. Like, this is our mascot in Mindo. This is the Andean cock of the rock, which is really hard to see. Generally, it's a really unique bird. These are two males, and you can see them in their courtship dances if you do the cock of the rock birding tour. But one of the other reasons a lot of people come to Mindo is for the butterflies. So if you go to butterfly gardens here, you'll see, actually, if it shows where the butterflies have come from, a lot of the ones from Latin America are actually coming from Mindo. So we produce butterflies because they're so prolific there, and there are a lot of butterfly gardens to visit where you get to see them coming out of their chrysalis, and where you get to see them drying off their wings and see them at every stage of life, and they land on you, and they eat right out of your off your finger with banana, just like all animals in Ecuador. That is their favorite food. So there's no shortage of bananas. And the morpho butterflies are just spectacular. They're these big blue iridescent ones that kind of flit in a unique way of flying, and seeing them fly all over is just really beautiful. Uh, so Ecuador has 4,500 species of orchids, and we have a special little orchid garden where you can go and actually explore some of them. Some of them are microscopic, so you actually need to look through a magnifying glass, and it's really beautiful seeing all the different orchids. We also do a chocolate tour. Mindo is the root of chocolate. So we do, a couple of different tours. This tour where you actually get to see artisanal chocolate being made. My only neighbor in Mindo is an artisanal chocolate factory. So it's the best of all the different chocolate tours going on in Mindo. There are a lot of them. But it's the original, and it's so interesting to see it, all the different stages. We also do our own kind of chocolate tour at night, in the back, with some music, and really learning how they used to make it, how they used to prepare it hundreds of years ago. So it's a really interesting tour as well. Lots of wonderful hikes to do in the area, and particularly waterfalls. Heading down to waterfalls is a beautiful day trip. You head across this valley in this cable car to get down to these waterfalls, and it's a beautiful hike down. And we have a traditional lunch prepared for us by our chef Marina if we're on retreat. But I do that for a lot of trips as well. Marina makes just these incredible lunches wrapped in a banana leaf to keep it hot, and it's all sustainable. We try and really do everything as sustainable as possible. So zero waste is always the goal, which it's nice to eat in a picnic with silverware, right? So that's just giving you some of the wonderful vibes of being in Mindo. Part of the beauty of being in retreat in particular is that community that we're building, but that happens on retreats. But I host different retreats with retreat leaders such as Lise, who you can see at the end of the table there. We're hosting a retreat, actually. The next retreat I'm hosting is with Lise as well in November again, and we're really focusing on the nervous system, and it's called the Nervous System Reboot. So it's working with Lise is an advanced instructor of Soma breath, which is such an incredible modality. If you've never tried it, it's so powerful, the effect that it has on the body. And that, combined with Kundalini yoga and stretching that she offers, the connection with nature, the program we've created. We also visit a spiritual sanctuary and work with shamans for a day in the sweat lodge. So it's just, we've built a really beautiful program together. And if you're interested in that, you can hear from this group of women. Some of their testimonial videos are up on the website, and it really it says a lot. Hummingbirds are one of the main reasons we go to Mindo as well. And it's what really probably sticks with people the most is our visit to see some of we do go to two different reserves to visit hummingbirds. One of them is Pedro Peñafiel and Heike Brieschke's reserve, and the other one is one where we actually have them land in your hands and they eat right out of your hands, and it's just magical. And it's not like a question. You will have them eating out of your hands for as long as you want to stay. It's and several different species, and it's just the best feeling. This is one of the birds that's kind of harder to see around. If you're a birder, this is a rufous motmot. This particular family of birds has had a nest between my property and my sister-in-law's property, which kind of are joined and flow into each other. And this family has had a nest there for decades, so they're very comfortable around people. We also see a lot of toucans, not as much as the motmot. The motmot's just around everywhere, but seeing toucans is really special. We've built a really nice little retreat center that's comfortable with, wooden buildings, and it's just all about setting. Very simple, but it's about connecting with nature. It's about just being beside this river and the sound of the river rushing by for an entire 9 days. It's just there's something about being on this particular piece of land that is so healing and beautiful. So, okay, I need to leave some time for questions here. So, just again, the community that we build is just it's spectacular. It's a big part of it, part of the healing experience of being on retreat. Yeah. And such unique flowers and plant life and lots of unique animals around the property as well. And that's our outdoor yoga studio, our shala, right beside the river to the right. And it's yeah, it's a beautiful place to share time and space, meditate, spend time doing different activities together. We're part of the culture, we're part of the village. So, going into the school when there's certain special activities going on, which seem to be going on a lot, and it's a wonderful way of experiencing the culture. I have godchildren all over the place. These two little girls are just not so little anymore, but they're just two of my beautiful godchildren. And that's their mom, who is our empanada teacher. And it's so much fun too. She's really hilarious, and she's a great empanada maker, and she hams it up the whole time. So we have a lot of fun doing these activities, which are these local meaningful activities. And this is just a quick picture of the spiritual sanctuary, which is about a half an hour outside of town, and beautiful shamans, so wise, and yeah, it's a wonderful place to be. So Pedro Peñafiel, his property is spectacular. We spend a lot of time there just, touring around his beautiful nature reserve with his wife, Heike Brieschke, who's one of the world's hummingbird specialists. She's a doctor of ornithology, and we have just, wonderful time hiking through the forest, learning from Pedro. He actually has people, botanists who travel from different parts of the world to learn from him because his knowledge of botany is so vast in this unique part of the world. And so, we go there. This is part of where he's growing some of his trees and doing a lot of reforestation. Pedro and I have partnered on a lot of wonderful initiatives over the years, such as a reforestation project where we saw I think just over 15,000 trees in the end that survived, that are carefully counted and accounted for. And just we're really proud of that. We partnered with the German climate change organization. We used to have all of EarthTreks clients plant one of the trees as part of that project, but the project was wrapped up in 2019, just at the end. So we don't do that anymore. But Pedro has now actually moved to a new project. So he discovered a new species of magnolia, and this is called the Magnolia mindoensis. And so he has the mother tree, which is when you discover a new species. And then he took it on upon himself to see if it was anywhere else in the country. And he only found a couple species. So really saved it from extinction. And he is now growing them in his little tree nursery. And this is where EarthTreks is now supporting these conservation efforts, and being recognized for it. So, these are some of the locals who are volunteering as part of the project, and just so wonderful to be recognized as part of this project. Every retreat, every mainland Ecuador trip goes to support these conservation efforts on Mindo Lindo. So, and I could talk forever about that, but I just wanted to end with kind of the special thing about walking with Pedro through a forest is he will point out the simplest, tiniest little detail that you would have probably walked by and not noticed. And often without words, he'll make you stop and feel and really connect with the beauty of whatever that tiny detail is. And when I came across this photo, that's why I put this in to finish this evening, just to end on that note, because it's really about reconnecting with nature again, to bring it back to EarthTrek's mission to reconnect with nature and reconnect people with each other. So yeah, and I'm going to stop sharing on that note and just ask if there are any questions at all. And just unmute yourself if you do. No order, just I would love to hear any comments or questions. I'm happy to follow up with you on anything via email or afterwards as well. So
I
reach out.
have a
I'm very
question.
accessible.
I just have a question.
Yeah,
Um,
Linda.
the the trips to Mindo, do you only do that once a year or do you do that more than once?
I have so I have three departures for the what I call the Amazon and Andes trip, hidden gems of the Andes and Amazon. And so three departures. The first one is in early November, and then the next one is January and then February. So those are three that are organized for small groups. I can also organize, so we have retreats happening as well. The one I mentioned with Lee's is the nervous system reboot, which is just
That's
earthtrek.ca.
kind of what I'm talking about.
Okay, and you can find
Just
that.
wondering if you're going to do that at all again, like in the year.
Yeah, yes. I do run retreats throughout the year. So that's the one that's happening in November. Then the next one is a writing retreat, which is happening in early February. And then I'm in conversation with a few people. Right now, we're just doing a bit of an expansion. So it's a question of when timing is a bit of a funny thing when you're
Mm,
aligning expansion plans, but
sure.
I'm happy to let you know as other retreats are planned. And mhm.
Okay. And I assume you post that stuff on your website too.
I posted on my website. Yep. And yep.
Okay.
And I also, if you're not already on a mailing list, I'm happy to put you on a mailing list, and that keeps you up to date too. Yeah.
Yes, I am. I am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Yeah. Oh, Carolyn, you're being formal. Hello.
Hi there.
Hi.
First of all, I just wanted to say your pictures are absolutely gorgeous and they
Oh,
just
thank you.
capture the wildlife and the natural habitat so beautifully. So thank you. Um,
Oh, thank you so
yeah,
much.
something. So you kind of answered my question. I was just wondering how many times a year you go to the Galapagos. So I hear the three upcoming ones. And my next question was, how big are the groups generally?
Good question. Thank you. So, sustainable travel, and I follow everything as sustainably as possible in everything we do. Sustainable travel is defined as 16 people maximum. So, for the and retreats will often cap at 12 just to keep it in the community based on kind of how we decide to organize it. But the Galapagos trips are never more than 16 people. That's for the island hopping, the three departures that I have organized. I do also organize individual yacht trips for two people, sometimes four people. It's really hard to do more than four people at a time. And it's a different way of seeing it as well. It's not as it's more expensive for sure to do it the yacht way. And if I don't think I mentioned this, if you ever choose to go by yacht, just please don't go on the 99 person yachts. It's just they're huge. There's three or four of them in the Galapagos. And, the other ones are all 12, 14, 16 people, a few are 18, but generally they're 14 people. And again, that perfect size. It's enough people, beautiful conversation. Yeah, it's the way to go for a yacht, but that's also the size that we keep it for the small groups for island hopping. Yeah.
I like the island hopping idea.
Yeah. And the October trip, it's leaving on Halloween. That's the next departure. It's on October 31st and it runs for 12 days. So it's going to be an amazing one. So, some beautiful people already signed up for it.
I missed the video at the beginning. Is there any chance you can put it on again at the end?
Sure, I would love to. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Any other questions at all?
Yes, I have a question, Allison.
Yeah, hello.
It's Martha.
Yes.
Yeah, I echo what Carolyn said. Beautiful pictures.
Oh, thank you so
And
much.
makes it. Now, my question is, you all your pictures show adults, and I'm just curious, have you ever done a shortened family trip?
I've
In
had
other words, with children?
Yeah, I would be up for doing that. I have specifically like looked at working with people in the 65 plus bracket generally because that just became the demographic I loved working with really from the beginning. But I've been asked to do that for families, and it's just,
Oh,
I'd definitely be up for talking about it. It's sometimes prices go up a little bit over March break and over the summers, but that's the way it is everywhere for families. So,
yeah, yeah, it wouldn't be it would be school year likely. But yeah,
oh,
I'm just curious. I was just curious because sometimes you just have to ask, when yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah, absolutely. No, I
okay.
mean, everything's possible. That's why I like the idea working with one country, one niche.
Mhm.
I can kind of do anything at this point, and
Yeah,
create things. And sometimes it takes one person with an idea to come up with an idea and we create it. That's how my itineraries are created is, yeah, with a new idea and then
wonderful.
we build it out together. So,
Right. Thank you.
my pleasure. Thanks for coming.
I have a comment and a question. Well, just to reiterate what everyone's been sharing, your fantastic presentation. The pictures were so incredible. It just really makes me want to come to Ecuador.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
Yeah, and the other thing is, I'm just curious because you had mentioned during the presentation that the baños in Ecuador are the best in South America. So I've been to several of them in Peru, and I found them to be quite wonderful. I'm so curious what makes them the best, in your opinion.
So it's specifically so the hot springs in Baños are known for being medicinal, and they're actually considered like holy water. But the ones that I referred to as being the best in South America, that's called Papayacta, and that's closer to Quito. It's on the way, kind of there's an overpass as you climb up from Quito a bit before going down into the Amazon basin. And that Papayacta it's a combination of the views of the mountains, which are absolutely gorgeous, and just the way that they've set out the different baths. I think it's just has the reputation for being the nicest hot springs in South America. That's
Okay,
You can sometimes see condors there as well, which I mentioned are hard to see. So it might relate to that too.
okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Can you tell me more about the ones in um, the baños termales, like the medicinal baths? Are those
Yeah.
like you know what the minerals are in the water there?
I don't know what the minerals are. No, they
Okay.
come straight out of the out of the volcano, which is right there, and they have more of a sulfury smell than the Papayacta ones.
Yeah.
They're not like pretty and luxurious and scenic. I mean, it's pretty, but
Yeah.
these are baths that people from Baños go in early morning and late evening every day. It's something that they use as part of their health regime. So they're two very different things. There are
Yeah.
also some
Yeah.
private baths in Baños, which are, more expensive, but there's kind of a mix. It's a bit of a spa town as well as an adrenaline sports town.
And this is the one that's close to Mindo?
No,
How?
Baños is on the
Oh,
far side of Quito from Mindo. So it's about 3 hours past Quito, to the south. And it's also in a little valley, and it's a beautiful little fun kind of adventure town.
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I've wanted to come to Ecuador ever since you. I don't know if you remember me. We met at Vipassana many years ago.
Yes.
Um, so
I saw your name and I thought, is that the one from Vipassana?
yeah, yes, yes. So I
Amazing.
don't. Yeah, and I wanted to come on one of your trips before. It just didn't line up timing wise, and yeah, I'd love to come. I'd love to come on a tour. I just, with scheduling wise, I'm not sure if it's gonna work out in January or February, but yeah, I'd love to because yeah, it was really especially I've been to Paracas before, and they always compare it to the Galapagos, but like like it's not at all like what you shared is like incomparable. Like to be able to walk on the islands and have that experience with the turtles, and looking into their eyes and that like kind of experience, I would think would be completely just oh yeah. When you were explaining that, I'd love to have that kind of experience.
Yeah. Well, it's incomparable. I think that's a great way to put it. And you've stayed in touch all these years.
Yes,
So, just when the timing is right, you'll know it. And I'm happy to work with you whenever that is. So just stay in touch, and yeah.
thank you again.
I will have a new website in about a month, I think. So stay posted for that too. They'll be a little easier to manage to get around. Yeah. Thank you for coming. Really good to see you, to hear you. Yeah. Any other questions at all, or we're a couple minutes over here?
Alison, I had one more, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Do you need any special immunizations to go when you're in the Amazon basin?
They some travel clinics that don't do their research very well will recommend a yellow fever vaccination, which is a requirement in Peru, absolutely. But the part of the Amazon that I organize trips in. It's not necessary. And I would say that, I mean, there's no guarantee that malaria doesn't exist, but you just kind of a little bit of, you probably won't see a mosquito. Let's start there. And if you do some good spraying, then you're safe for that too. But I'm not I'm not giving health advice. I have to be really careful, which I'm sure you can respect. But you know, it's good to do your own research, but yeah, no vaccines that I'm aware of are necessary, and certainly not in the Galapagos. But the Amazon is one of the areas they might say maybe a yellow fever. I mean, Hep A and B is wise for any travel you do anywhere. Making sure your vaccinations are up to date, always important. But yeah, the yellow fever is, I would put a question mark there, a big one.
But sometimes when you go to a country, like upon entry, they look to see what you've had. Is it like that or is it not? No.
No, that is the case in Peru, though.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, Ron.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
Hey
Hello.
there, Allison. It's Rod here.
Yes, hi.
Hey, I know Kathy went with you a few years ago, and still her favorite trip, for sure by far. I'm a bit of a foodie though, and don't mind a glass of wine at night. What would the like the accommodations and the food and wine be like? I know first class that the trip was great, so you don't have to sell me on that, but I'm kind of curious.
Oh,
Would
that's
we
a
be
wonderful
sleeping in
question.
hotel rooms or teepees or
Yeah,
what?
no, I love that. So are you talking about the Andes and Amazon, or are you talking about
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Galapagos or Mindo,
yeah, yeah,
or all of the above?
yeah. Like that sort of that 12-day trip where you're traveling through the, you know,
Through the
yeah,
Amazon?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, well, let's just say the entire way. The food is wonderful through all trips. I mean, in Mindo, I have a private chef who's over the top. She's incredible. But you know, when you're staying in the Amazon, for example, Suchi Picari Lodge does a mix of traditional and, you know, accommodates everywhere. They are able to accommodate all dietary restrictions now. They're able to accommodate you know, veganism easily. They understand that we like good wine now, and it's available, which was not the case when you were there, Kathy. I don't know if you remember, but it was a different world then. It was really like it was really hard to find red wine for sure.
Mhm.
And white wine was the sweet stuff in a box. And now you can choose between, you know, a Cabernet
Right.
all like you really have a nice variety of wine to choose from in all the corner stores. So it's totally changed. It's very easy to find a nice glass of wine in restaurants. The Eco Lodge in the Amazon has wonderful selection of wine right there, and they can mix the coolest, fanciest cocktails
Mm.
at night after you've done your, you know, hard trek through the jungle. You can have a big strawberry margarita or whatever you want. So, and that's
Right.
that's the case in the Galapagos and Mindo too. It's
So,
really
so
changed a lot, you know, and that's one of the changes definitely for the good is just having access to those kind of things, spa services, a lot of things that are catering to the growing ecotourism movement there.
mm,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, and like I said, Kathy talks about the trip all the time that she was on, so somehow we'll have to figure it out for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I
that's
want to,
wonderful.
as I'd like to say, Allison, that all those photos of all the animals, I experienced them all.
Did
The,
you?
the sea lions, swimming with the sea lions, the marine iguanas, the barefooted booby dance. I've experienced it all. The various birds, most of them, the
Uh,
butterflies, all of it. It was wonderful.
oh, it was wonderful.
Hmm.
And I've been
Yeah.
going through old photos and I've seen so many photos. My one of
Yeah.
my favorite of you swinging through the jungle.
Oh,
So
yes. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, thank you for
Yeah.
that. And I'd love to see
Yeah.
your photos one day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for joining us, guys.
Yeah. Thanks.
Any other questions at all? Anybody? because I'm going to put by request from Carolyn Jones, I'm going to put on the that loop that hopefully nobody logged on too early and saw 17 times, but it's a 1 minute loop basically of just the Galapagos trip. So I'll put that on if there are no more questions, and I will bid everyone adieu and thank you again for coming out